Okay, now that you have Minikube installed and running your local Kubernetes cluster, we can move along to actually installing Ops Manager and the new Ops Manager Kubernetes operator. So to get started with this, the first thing we're going to do is back in our console, we're going to actually create a Kubernetes namespace, just called MongoDB. And a namespace is sort of a logical encapsulation of various services and processes running within the Kubernetes cluster. We'll do all of our work in that namespace. We can also set the kubectl command to actually use that newly created namespace as the default. See right now that we have nothing yet deployed into the cluster. So to install the operator, you're going to want to clone this repository, which you may need access to. So go ahead and run that. I've already cloned it into this local folder. Now that you've cloned that repository, we can go ahead and get things set up for Helm to work. The first thing we need to do is to create a service account for Helm. You also need to create a cluster role binding for that account. And then finally, we can actually initialize the Helm system. Okay. In the instructions in that repo for accessing the Docker images containing the operator and also automation agent nodes, you'll need to create a secret and download that. Please follow the directions in the repository. I've already downloaded my secret, and I can create it just like that. Now we can install the operator. Okay, so running that, we get some nice output here showing us that there's a pod that is creating, which tells us that it's actually able to download the image. You see some other roles and security things setting there. And then finally, all of this is rolled up into a deployment for the operator. We can run our handy get all again and see that it is in fact up and running. If we are interested in the logs for that, we can fetch those by just grabbing the name of that pod. And if you notice there, logs with the -f is going to just keep tailing the logs for us. And there's our operator waiting for custom resources. Using the information in the notes at the bottom of this section, you can find another repository called the OpenShift Development Preview that has a folder called Simple Test Ops Manager, K8s. Inside here is a YAML file that defines a single deployment with one pod containing a container running a MongoDB instance for the Ops Manager application database, and another container running an instance of Ops Manager itself. This can be used as a handy way to set up your own simple testing version of Ops Manager to use with the new operator. This command here will download the YAML file defining our Ops Manager deployment and pass it right into kubectl create. Now we see that a bunch of different objects have been created, and we can view the status by taking a look at that. Since Ops Manager takes a few minutes to start up, we can actually watch the progress by tailing a startup log that the pod is writing to. After you download the YAML file and pass it into the create command, this may take a second because the actual Docker image is being downloaded directly from the internet. Okay, once you see the pods running, then we can watch the startup logs with a command like this. This will actually find the name of the pod here that's running the app MongoDB Ops Manager, and for the container called MongoDB Ops Manager, tail this file. And so here you can see some output and the fact that Ops Manager is being started up.